Sadly, Pedro Jimeno would never be able to win over the family Chantal viewers again due to his turbulent breakup with Chantal. Everett 2014 saw Pedro fall in love with Chantal. He abandoned his life in the Dominican Republic to follow her to the United States, where he intended to get married. The couple's families presented a number of difficulties in their marriage, but they always seemed to get along well and overcome every obstacle in unison. In 2016, the couple exchanged vows, formally establishing their union in front of their family. During the first several years of their marriage, Pedro and Chantal appeared to be a perfect match. But after Pedro obtained his real estate license, everything was different. Pedro grew quite resentful of Chantal over the past few years for not being as workaholic as he was. He also moved past love and began focusing all of his energy on his new career. Ultimately, after he gained his independence, Pedro requested a divorce from Chantal. He also started to make strong insinuations that he had cheated on her. His actions, predictably, brought him a great deal of criticism and irreversibly tarnished his reputation. Pedro's intentions were always unclear to Chantal's family. They thought he was a con artist or a sanky-panky who was just interested in getting a green card. Pedro has only served to validate the opinions of his ex-in-laws over time. He has left glaring hints that obtaining entry into the U.S. was always his cover goal. Pedro and Chantal got into a heated argument a few years back during which Pedro revealed his desires for his marriage. He said, "When I have my green card, the 10 years, if you fixed your attitude with me, hey, it gonna be over." Pedro demonstrated his desire to possess his own money in the U.S. by demonstrating that his primary goal was obtaining a green card. Although having financial stability is a positive thing, he gave the impression that his marriage wasn't his first priority. Pedro showed that he valued his mother and sister more than Chantal by sending them money he acquired from meager sources. In addition, he and Chantal got into a heated court battle regarding their joint bank account, which demonstrated his unwavering emphasis on getting his green card and saving money for when he and Chantal got divorced. At first, it appeared like Pedro and Chantal were closer than ever. Their vintage pictures demonstrated their genuine bond and affection for one another. But a plethora of family disputes and arguments altered their affections for one another. Pedro grew incredibly aloof from Chantal and vented his annoyance at her. He stopped caring about her sentiments and termed her lazy for trying to unwind after a demanding workday. Pedro even denied Chantal any closeness. Pedro allows his relationship with Chantal to deteriorate in Season 4 of The Family Chantal in order to concentrate on his work as a real estate agent. He made the decision to spend the most of his time in the workplace regardless of Chantal's feelings. Pedro made things worse by being very intimate with his female co-workers. He showed that he didn't care about his marriage by spending more time with them than with his wife. Chantal made countless attempts to mend her marriage. She even went to see Lydia, her ex-mom-in-law, and begged her to assist her and her partner get back together. In the end, though, Pedro requested a divorce from her. In the past, at AG38, a Reddit user questioned whether Pedro really used Chantal for a green card. The majority of participants acknowledged that it was true and expressed their thoughts. "I think he used her," a Redditor commented. From the beginning, the relationship was for a green card. Felt captured. The user came to the conclusion that Pedro briefly fell in love with Chantal before realizing how toxic his existence with the Everett family was and refocusing on obtaining his green card. Several admirers who studied the former couple's relationship in depth concurred with a similar viewpoint. They talked about Pedro's calculated actions and mindset that ultimately resulted in his divorce. "Yes, it's evident as day now," a Redditor commented. Simply put, he was more strategic than the others on 90 Days. The user stated that although Chantal was his girl for a little period of time, she was never the person he wanted to live a lifetime with. As the Redditor put it, Chantal was just used for a come-up, simple as that. He turned into such a villain that many viewers tried to reprimand him by review bombing his company page. Pedro's supporters continue to harbor animosity toward him and post nasty remarks on his social media posts. He can't, therefore, instantly recover and return to his former status as the popular favorite after he wed Chantal. Pedro will need to rise to the occasion if he wants to regain his popularity. He'll need to distance himself from reality TV and go on with his life in order to demonstrate to his admirers that he has changed. On the other hand, Pedro might win over some supporters by showing regret. He might acknowledge his wrongdoings towards Chantal and issue a public apology. Pedro needs to answer all accusations of cheating with sincerity and candor. If he truly loved Chantal, he ought to say, and he ought to clarify why his emotions evolved over time. Pedro ought to ask Chantal for pardon after expressing his deep regret. This strategy might make it easier for fans of the family Chantal to relate to Pedro more deeply, comprehend his point of view, and even forgive him.